And then finally, Hu Zhang will present an article review on identity and ICC. So let's get started. So when we talk about identity, it's actually, as we research the topic to prepare for this presentation, we find that it is a very complex phenomenon, which has many layers. So what is identity? Well, first of all, it is not just one concept, but there are two sources of identity that typically influence an individual's everyday interaction, which are group-based identities and person-based identities. So when we talk about social identities, it means an individual's conceptualizations of the self that derive from memberships in emotionally significant categories or groups. And when we talk about personal identities, it refers to an individual's self-conceptions that define the individual in relation to or in comparison to other individuals. Social identities can include cultural or ethnic membership identity, like what culture or what ethnicity that person belongs to, gender identity, sexual orientation identity, social class identity, age, disability, or professional identity. So all those things are part of the social identities. While personal identities include any unique attributes that we associate with our individuated self in comparison to those of others. And while these two seems to be two separate phenomenon, two separate concepts, the process of defining a personal self is inevitably a social process. It means that these two things are connected, these two types of identity are connected, and we develop our personal identity in conjunction with our social identity and vice versa. So to sum up, we can understand identity as the reflective self-conception or self-image that we derive from our cultural, ethnic, and gender socialization process. And identity is acquired via our interaction with others in particular situations. So it means that it is not something natural, it is not inborn, but we acquire our identity. It is our reflective views of ourselves at both social level and personal level.
Okay, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can you go back to the slide on social and personal identity? Okay, that's it. Now, okay, Lương, you are a person, right? An individual.
Yes.
So, what is Lương social identity? And what is Lương personal identity?
Okay. Do I answer the question or?
Yes, go ahead. I'm asking you so that people can know. We are not talking about identities in the abstract, but in real life. I'm talking about Lương as an individual, as a person. So,
Yes.
what is your social identity or identities in the plural form?
Okay. So based on these definitions, I would say that my social identities are that I'm a Vietnamese person.
Right. So I define myself as a Vietnamese person.
Yes.
That is cultural identity. What else?
Yes. Female, that is my gender identity.
Right. So different from men.
Yes.
Now, what about your professional identity?
I identify as a teacher.
Right. So you are a teacher identity. Now, social class.
Social class. I would say middle class.
Okay, middle class, good, and not upper class or not lower class.
Not yet.
Okay, right. Disability. Do you have any disability or no?
Currently, no, and I hope not.
Okay. Do you have digital identity?
Digital identity.
You use the
Yes, because I
digital
use social media.
platform
Yes.
to leave your mark there, and you have digital identity. So there are
Yes.
so many social identities that you may have or you may belong to. Okay.
Yes.
Now, personal identity. What makes you you? That's my question.
Yeah. So I think that there are also more than one ways to define person's personal identities, right? So in my case, I would say that I am individualistic.
Okay, yes, you are individualistic, so that will be your personality, right? Okay,
Yes.
that's okay. Can you use another word to describe your personal identity?
Yes. Enthusiastic, maybe, or
Okay, enthusiastic
confident.
teacher. Okay,
Yes.
I'm an enthusiastic teacher, both professional and also
social.
personal. Right. Okay, that's it. Okay, the class, you understand? Okay, we both have social identity and personal identity at the same time. These two things define each other. Okay. So your personal identity define your social identities, and your social identity define your personal identity. They're in a dialectical relationship. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay, good. Go on.
Thank you, Professor. Okay, so as we can see from the definitions that I just provided, a person does not just have one identity, but many identities, right? And we have more than one way to define our identity, to identify ourselves in comparison with others. And these identities can be divided, can be categorized into two groups.